This is Beach Talk Radio.
Good morning, Mr. and Mrs. America, and all ships at sea. This is your captain speaking, Mean Gene. Mean Gene. The following will be a test of the ship's whistle, the sonar alarm, the cable alarm, and the atomic attack alarm.
Live from Peach Time Out in the heart of Times Square. You're listening to Beach Talk Radio with Kim and Ed Ryan.
And a good morning, everybody. Thank you, Mean Gene, and welcome to episode number 183 as she makes a grand entrance, as she always likes to do. We are broadcasting live from Peach Time Out in Times Square here on Fort Myers Beach. And we'd like to thank all of our local business sponsors that make this show possible and make my wife's salary possible. And the website and the newsletter. Best Western, Island Oils, Fort Myers Tiki Tours, Nervous Nellies, Mangaritas, Sanibel Carts. By the way, if you mention Beach Talk Radio and you want to rent a cart from Sanibel Carts, 10% off. Cha-ching. Nice. So if you're having trouble getting around, all you need to do is dial them up, say, I heard that advertisement on Beach Talk Radio, and it's 10% off.
And they will deliver and pick up.
State Insurance USA, Sun Palace Vacations, La Ola Restaurant, Tuckaway Cafe, Blue Ribbon Events, Beach Pottery, Shuckers, and of course, our longest running sponsor, the man with the gray hair. He is Lucky Luciano of Fort Myers Beach, John Lalo, and Pete's Time Out. Coming up.
And he has graced us with his presence today.
He's hiding in the back.
Star debut.
Stocking up the beer cooler for the Islandhopper Songwriter Fest.
They are stocked up, that's for sure.
Speaking of that, later on today, we're going to be broadcasting live from Nervous Nellies from 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock. So if you're too hungover to make it to Pete's for breakfast, then come on down to Nervous Nellies for lunch. We're going to be giving away our koozies, and Kim's going to be giving out free kisses later on today.
That is not happening.
At Nervous Nellies from 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock.
I would not do that.
I know.
Ever.
You know, you don't fun at all.
During this situation.
Why? It's a little kiss. No, I didn't say, it's just a peck.
Okay, thank you, ladies.
Yeah, okay. Nobody knows what that joke is, but coming up later in the show, movie trivia, of course, your chance to win 2 tickets to the Beach Theater, which is located here on the beach on Estero Boulevard. And also later in the show, we're going to be talking to Dan Spears from BMI. I saw Dan the other day in Miami. We're going to talk about that. And of course, Dan is responsible for the most part, or at least the good part of why the songwriter.
Yeah, he's a responsible person.
No, I don't mean he's irresponsible or responsible, but I don't want to say he's a 100%, the organizer of the Songwriter Fest, but, he's got access to some big names.
I'm sure it takes a lot of people to put on such a big event.
Yeah. And
it's huge.
Do you think that, I don't know if the artists get paid anything. I think they get like free rooms and stuff like that, and probably free meals and free drinks and all that. And so
the singer-songwriters.
Yeah. And anyway, so we'll talk to Dan about that.
They get paid from BMI, right? When their songs get played, right?
Yeah, but I don't know how that works. So that's why we have Dan. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's going to be an exciting day here on the beach. So if you want to find your place to park, then you want to get down here nice and early.
Or
you could take the park and ride, and that's over behind the Walmart.
Yep.
Right. It's free. You can get on the tram
that's the trolley, and then the tram is down here.
And ride for free. And
the tram down here is free. The trolley is, I believe, 75 cents.
You didn't put that on the cheat sheet. I didn't know you were going to talk about that, or I would have wrote down exactly how much it costs. And also, Tuckaway Cafe.
So uninformed.
Tuckaway Cafe is celebrating their 10th anniversary on October the 3rd. I think it's October the 3rd. It's in October. I know that's a long month, but it's one of those weekends, and they're going to have a big celebration. The exact date is on our website, which is beachtalkradionews.com. And while you're on there, you can sign up for our newsletter and click on our advertisers and all that. But enough about our advertisers and our website and our stuff. It's our great pleasure to introduce to you the brand new fire chief of Fort Myers Beach. Ladies and gentlemen, I know you're clapping at home because the crowd here at Peach Time Out is going absolutely crazy for the new fire chief, Ron Martin. And Ron, he brings his own chair. He brings his own coffee cups.
I was confusing him with my hand signals. I wanted my notebook. So
yeah. So instead he went to get you a chair.
Very gracious to get a chair and everything.
Chief, how are you?
I'm doing great, Ed. Thank you for having me on the show this morning. Thank you, Kim, for having me on the show. It's a great honor and a privilege to be here with you.
Well, thank you for coming down and bringing your lovely wife.
Yes, my lovely wife.
25 years, did you say?
25 years. Wow. She is a fire service veteran like myself. And, there's kind of this unwritten rule in the fire service that whenever you get promoted, your spouse at home gets one additional bugle. So the fire chief wears 5 bugles. She's got the sixth one. Okay. Because she's the boss.
That's right.
Gotcha.
That's right.
So, Chief, before my wife, she likes to ask goofy questions and all that.
Yeah, right.
Your nickname is Tiny. Okay. Now, before we explain how that happened, what are you, like 6'4"?
I'm actually 6'7".
I was
Holy
say,
Christmas, 6'7".
Way more than 6'4".
What are you pulling on the scale right now?
I'm 6'7" and about 320.
320 pounds. So you could pretty much beat the shit out of anybody, right? When was the last time you got into a fist fight?
Oh, geez. Fist fight?
Yeah.
Probably in high school.
Okay.
Years ago.
How big were you in high school? I mean.
Well, actually, I graduated high school at 6'4" and about 280.
We are a football player?
For a little bit.
Yeah.
I broke my arm, and that was back in my early middle school days. And I was like, nah, I don't want to do this. And plus, football camp and all that stuff. That wasn't my thing.
So let me ask though. So you're 6'7", you said.
6'7".
And how tall is your wife?
I got to turn the camera up for crying out loud.
I was like, there's a slight height disadvantage she has.
There is a slight height difference between me and my wife. She's 5 foot tall. And yes, and that equalized the height for my children. We got 3.
Oh, yeah. So, right. Did it even out?
Yeah, it evened out, actually.
Nice.
They're all average height. They're not like Dad, off that end of that normal spectrum there.
So Tiny popped up on our Facebook page when we congratulate. By the way, for anybody that doesn't know, what happened this past week was the fire board met on Wednesday night and kind of approved the contract that the new chief was negotiating with the attorney. It's a whole process. A week before, they unanimously approved you as the chief to replace, I don't like that word, but to replace Chief Love, who's moving on to another job. But you didn't have a contract, so to make it official that you took a week to negotiate the contract. Is that public knowledge?
The contract, yeah.
How much do they pay you?
$153.
Oh, okay. $153. Oh, wow. That's pretty nice.
$153.
You get full medical and health and all that too?
I've got a good medical package.
Now, if you call 911 from your house, do you have to pay that or is that free of charge? You don't have to answer that silly. 153 is nice. So you got the contract approved on Wednesday and here you are.
Yes.
Now, Chief Love will stay on for a transition period, which is kind of cool. It's not something that has to be abrupt. And so that's the history of the last week. Let's talk about the history of how you got the name Tiny.
Well, Captain Rick Borden, South Bend Fire Department, if you are out there and you are watching us this morning, thank you for bringing that nickname down with me. So my nickname Tiny, I had the distinct honor and privilege in my career to serve the citizens of South Bend, Indiana in the South Bend Fire Department. And I was about 21 years old and, new guys coming on, it takes time to get bunker gear and boots and stuff like that. So, within the first couple of days, they're trying to find some gear in storage to fit me. And there was this tradition that you always get a nickname in the fire service and that nickname can follow you, and once you get that nickname that everybody knows, it follows you. So one day they tried all kinds of things, lurch and biggin and everything else, and so I'm standing there with a group of captains and my direct captain was Rich Kosmala and I'm trying on boots and they got a pile of boots and I'm trying boots on and I went through the whole pile and I couldn't find anything to fit me. And he looks at me, he's like, gosh darn it, Tiny. We're going to have to order like half a cow to fit your feet.
Wow.
And everybody just froze. And they're like, Tiny. That's it. So to this day, I'm known as Tiny.
It stuck with you down here too. Now
No, it didn't carry down here, but I'm sure it probably will.
So now
So what size is your boot then?
I 14 wide.
14 wide.
Yeah.
Wow. You could be a professional wrestler, I think, too. Have you ever, if there was like a charity
you
thing,
go.
you're like, what are a couple of wrestlers that you think? But Andre the Giant was way bigger, so he was like
way
9
bigger.
feet tall. So
The Undertaker?
maybe the Undertaker. Yeah, but he's not scary enough to be the Undertaker. He'd be a nicer
True.
guy.
Yeah.
So the job, how many
Can I ask, how long have you been with the fire department down here?
My first day of employment with Fort Myers Beach Fire Control District, it was a really unique date that's easy to remember. December 31st, 2003 was my first day on the job here. So
you have been with the service.
I've been here. I'm going to be completing my 18 years.
Nice.
And I have a total of 30 years in fire and emergency medical services. I started right when I was 18 years old, and I've just been carrying on actually before I was 18.
So, Chief, Kim's dream job, well, you're looking at it right here. Her dream job is always to be a podcaster with her husband, and so her dreams are coming true. Is this your dream job? Like, I guess you have to say yes now. I mean, you can't really say no, right?
you know, my job, I always knew I was one of those lucky people. I knew I was either going to be a soldier, I was going to be a police officer, or I was going to be a firefighter. I knew that since I was 3 years old. And I just grew up with that sentiment. I had family that was in public safety, and I knew I was called to serve, you know, and even if I didn't qualify to be a first responder and serve in this capacity, I would have been serving others because that's just intuitive inside myself to serve.
Mm-hmm.
Being fire chief for a kid from Hammond, Indiana that grew up with working parents, and both my mom and dad didn't even get out of middle school to get this honor and blessing. I mean, everybody dreams about being the boss.
Yeah.
But no, very rarely do people get it. And to be bestowed this awesome responsibility and the trust that the community has given me, my staff has given me, the Board of Fire Commissioners have given me, I feel like I'm in a dream. I truly do.
Now, when you were growing up in Indiana, you said.
Yes.
So every Halloween, did you dress up as a fireman?
No, I actually dressed up as Superman for a long time.
The biggest Superman on the block, that's for sure.
Superman on the block.
So when you hear that Chief Love is thinking about moving on to his next thing, are you thinking to yourself, "Oh man, this is my shot. This is my shot. I need to raise my hand. I need to say this." You know, how does that process work?
You know, the process works. It's a very public process. You know, it starts with a review of qualifications. The board decides what process they want to go through. Look at this process. They looked for any internal qualified candidates that meet the needs of the community and the needs of the position. I was fortunate. You know, then there's an interview process. Then there's a decision. Are they going to stay internal? Or are they going to do national? And luckily for me, they did, decided I was more than capable to do the job. And I'm very, very lucky to have that faith and to have that credibility with our community.
Now, for those people who don't know, can you just tell us how many employees you're going to be overseeing, how many units there are? Give us a little bit of background on that.
Well, we're an independent taxing district, which means we're an independent form of limited government for fire, emergency medical services, as well as fire code enforcement. We have 4 facilities, 3 fire stations, and 1 headquarters business office. We have 65 employee positions, and we cover about 10 square miles here, Fort Myers Beach and unincorporated Lee County.
And part of the beach includes off the bridge.
Yes,
so
yes.
How far does it go? Pine Ridge Road.
Pine Ridge
Gotcha.
Road. Yep.
What's the status of the new building? Can you kind of give us an update on how that's going? Then for folks that don't know, the fire station is going to be rebuilt where the Tops building used to be.
Yeah, so right now we are working, getting very close on our contracts with our design and construction professionals to start that process of design and, permitting and everything that goes along with that process. So this could be like a frustrating stage because you don't see a lot of outward movement with that property, but there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes.
Did the fire stations still have those poles, or is that just something you see on TV and in the movies?
No, there's fire stations that have poles and slides, believe it or not.
Slides?
Slides, yeah.
And what are the slides used for?
The
people that don't want to use the pole?
There's safer alternatives than the poles, because, you're dropping down through a hole, they can move pretty fast. And, people can land wrong, break their ankle, hurt their knee. But there's also slides. You see fire stations that have slides. We don't have either of them here on Fort Myers Beach. But
I
guess, it's not, safety first, but it's firemen. You're going into unsafe situations all the time.
What's your point, dear? They shouldn't be afraid, is what you're saying?
Just the slide.
Are you criticizing the fire?
No, I'm not criticizing
people that don't want to go down there. How dare you do that?
I just like the old standard pole. I think that's a good thing.
I think we have a question from our live studio audience. Yeah, we were just talking about that. He's not really listening over there. So, how involved are you going to be in the design?
Well, I've got a very talented team of folks that work with me, so I plan to be as involved as I can and to be very hands-on with that project to make sure that we're capturing all the design elements. But I have a pretty good team that has a lot of experience. I've got Assistant Chief Scott Worth that works on our team. He's a licensed commercial contractor in Florida. Very fortunate to have him on our team, and has a lot of years of commercial construction under his belt, who's going to be kind of my day-to-day watchdog on that project.
So what's the planned opening? You have a rough idea, or is it too early to tell?
I can't really give you a date at this point.
So
has it been designed yet? I know you have an architect, but
we haven't finalized the design process yet. But we're close. And then, it takes some time to determine what your exact needs are. We have an idea, but you got to do a spatial analysis and things like that.
Do you know from the time that the builders been chosen?
We've chosen all the design and construction professionals through the RFQ process.
Okay.
Once we get, through the site plan development phases and we start putting pen to paper, we're going to be able to get a very good estimate from the time the shovels go in the dirt. It's just a process.
So, Chief, have you ever gone back, like you put out this massive fire and you guys saved some lives and, and you did a great job, and you go back to the firehouse and you're all jacked up, high-fiving each other, you crack a few beers and you just start going crazy down the pole, like just nuts up and down, anything go on like that?
You make it sound like Porky's. Go ahead.
No, actually, we wouldn't go back and crack a few beers.
I gotcha.
No, but we have a great process through any significant event like a fire. We do what's known as a post-incident analysis.
Sure.
And that's where we get everybody together and we talk about what went right, but more importantly, we talk about what didn't go right or didn't go as planned, so we could plan, train, and educate ourselves to avoid those things or those challenges. Every fire scene, every emergency scene is a learning opportunity and an opportunity to serve the community and get better from that experience.
Now, let me just ask, are the firefighters all additionally paramedics, or some one and some the other, or some are cross-trained? How does that work?
A majority of our department is state-certified firefighters as well as paramedics, and we do have some that are firefighters and emergency medical technicians. But the vast majority are also state-certified paramedics.
Is there like a kiddie pool at the bottom of the slide that you have in any of the firehouses, or is it
a cushion?
So fire stations that have poles, you'll see a big, thick mat typically. Never worked in a fire station with a slide in my career. I've seen them.
They should put a trampoline at the bottom of the pole, and that way you get a little bounce.
Did you ever see that? I don't remember the name of the NFL kicker. Did you see the NFL kicker that was so excited after he kicked a field goal that he jumped up and down and broke his leg? Do you remember seeing that?
Yeah, I remember something on the news about that.
Yeah, it was many years ago. I don't know. I just went coming down the pole, breaking your leg. It's reminding me of the kicker. His career was never the same again. So I think you guys should outlaw the poles. It just doesn't. I mean, it seems like it was a whole movie. What was the name of the TV show? Emergency. Yeah, where they used to.
Squad 51.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now, are you guys looking to get, I was doing some research, 2 new ambulances?
Yes, we're actually getting 2 new ambulances.
Sweet.
So those should be next 18 months or so. We'll have new ambulances. COVID slowed a lot of things down with microchips and everything else. So vehicle production's been a little bit delayed. But
when you say microchips, you mean people that get the vaccine that are getting the microchips put in through? No, you mean the ambulance.
For the
ambulances. Yes.
Gotcha.
Hazard a guess on how much one of those babies costs.
Oh, geez. The type of ambulances we're plus we're over 125 100.
I thought they'd be a lot more than that, being they have all that stuff inside. Yeah. So back to the new firehouse. Are you guys
3 then?
Are you guys going to have a boat out in the back? Because it's going to be kind of on the canal, right?
Well, we own, the old tops, but as far as boats and stuff like that, we're not considering any of those services at this time.
Because you have the Coast Guard.
Yeah, exactly. That's not on the forefront of our minds at this point.
Got you. So go ahead, dear.
So as a fire marshal, right? That's the term too?
I was term? Well, 2 different roles, fire chief and fire marshal.
Okay, so what's the difference?
Well, fire chief is the big picture guy.
Okay.
He or she sits at the top of the organization. The fire marshal, which I was the fire marshal for 10 years, is directly responsible for fire code enforcement, risk mitigation, arson, and fire investigations.
So on that vein, what is are buildings annually looked at? Is that part of the fire marshal's job? Is it
part of the fire marshal's or the fire official position is to ensure fire and life safety compliance in our community.
Okay.
So we try to touch as many buildings as we can annually that are subject to the Florida Fire Prevention Code. And that's commercial buildings and any units that have 3 living units or more.
Wow.
When you saw that building collapse in Miami, what were you thinking as it relates to locally?
What I was initially thinking when I saw that, my heart just poured out for the victims, their families, and our first responders that had to work through that horrific tragedy. And when I looked at it as well, I realized that there's going to be changes in building construction and codes and design. And I also realized that everybody, the emotions are high. We need to step back, let the professionals come in, really do a root cause evaluation, determine what happened so we can put together a plan to move forward and prevent future tragedies.
But here on the beach, you guys, the fire marshal goes out and checks each building out.
We aren't structural inspectors. We're
Okay.
not building inspectors. We're
Got it.
fire and life safety inspectors. But here in Fort Myers Beach, we have an awesome collaborative relationship with our partners, with the town of Fort Myers Beach Building Department, as well as our partners in Lee County. So even before that Surfside tragedy, we had come across structural issues, and through that collaborative partnership, and they're phenomenal. We've been able to work together to resolve some issues on the beach over the years.
Do you think? Are you confident that all the buildings on the beach right now are 100% safe?
I don't know if I could really answer that, but I could tell you that most of the buildings that we've looked at, most of the issues we see is deferred maintenance or, maintenance type things. Again, we're not building inspectors, we're not structural inspectors.
Right.
So I don't know if I'm really the best guy to answer that question.
What's the
And so let me just ask. So, but in homes, in single family homes or duplexes, those are not required to be inspected. Is that?
If they're in normal use, no. We do have an ordinance, and we do work with the town of Fort Myers Beach on short-term rental ordinances. Okay. And our ordinance actually came after a tragic fire we had in 2015.
Yeah,
and we go in and we do fire inspections to make sure the life safety code is met, and it's a good program, and we get a lot of good things done.
People talk about the traffic all the time on the beach. What's it like trying to get a fire truck or an ambulance through when you're at peak season and you need to get? I remember when, I guess you got the Coast Guard. There was an accident over by Bowditch, where the kids got away from the parents and they got caught in the riptide, and then you guys have to get all the way over there somehow. So how difficult is it sometimes for you to get through the traffic? I'm sure people are trying to move their cars up on the sidewalk to get out of the way, and then it could cause other issues because there's so many cars.
It's it can be challenging, but we have highly trained. Excuse me. Our folks that operate our vehicles have so much training, and they're so efficient at the use of these apparatus that they respond with. They move through traffic efficiently and safely. So,
Gotcha.
For this area, you're going to laugh at this, but maybe they could design a different kind of ambulance, like a more narrow.
That's silly.
Or
Come
a
on.
double-decker one, so you could fit into those tight spots
Well, maybe
easier.
something you have. I'm sure you have beach vehicles too, right?
yeah, we have alternative response vehicles that go out onto the beach and could transport people in, and we got array of support vehicles that we can bring people back to awaiting ambulance. So we have a lot of options at our discretion, but the biggest impediment during season is just reminding our community, please not to block cross streets when you're sitting in traffic, because then that becomes a challenge when we're bumper to bumper, and
There's
people
no
are
place to
blocking
go.
driveways and cross streets, and if there's a fire down one of these offshoots off of Stero and it's bumper to bumper, then our truck's got to wait while you try to maneuver. So just trying to keep those intersections open as much as we can is a big help to enhance our services.
And I just want to answer Bill real quick, because the chief already answered that question. So Bill must have just jumped on about the fireboat. There are no plans right now for a fireboat.
There's no plans. There's nothing in the immediate or long-term future for marine services.
So, Chief, tell us, over the years, you've been a firefighter for 30 some years now, right? What's the biggest fire you ever fought?
Oh gosh, biggest fire I've ever fought. Probably years ago, we had an entire wing of an apartment complex when I was up north that burnt up. That was a pretty significant fire. Over the years they run together. I've had major lumber factories burn up, hardware stores, had a Home Depot. So I've had pretty sizable events,
Have you ever Have you ever had to climb a tree to get a cat?
That was right here on my list. You were looking at my paper.
Amazingly, we have rescued animals. We have rescued animals. We've helped birds in this community that have been wrapped around and up on top of a 7-Eleven sign and needed assistance. The bottom line is silly as it sounds, the fire department and the Fort Myers Beach Fire Department, we started as a small community fire department, neighbor helping neighbor, and that volunteer. Is what volunteer. Yeah. That is what the fire service is about. If it doesn't involve a bad guy and a gun and people need help, you call the fire department, and that's our job. And that's what my team, that's what the men and women in the station riding the trucks today, that's what we are all about. It's not just fires and smoke and blood and gore and trauma.
Sure.
We are here to serve this community, and we do that with passion, honor, respect, and dignity each and every day. And it's an awesome job. I feel blessed every single day. I get the honor of put this uniform on, and now I get to represent all the men and women of the Fort Myers Beach Fire Department, serve the community, our visitors, and you guys. I mean, I just can't thank you. You're members of the media, and as a fire chief, I consider members of the media an extension of my team, because you guys do a very important work for public safety. You help get the message out when we need to. And I can't tell you, having these partnerships with the media, and especially local media, how absolutely vital that is to get emergency messages out. So thank you for what you do as well.
On that note, is there a message that you want to put out to people for fire? Like what's one of the, I mean, they're all important, but what's an important safety fire measure people can take?
Well, just based on the time of year right now, the first thing I'd want to put out to the community is we're still in hurricane season, and this is traditionally one of the most active parts of the season.
Right.
So make sure you have a plan. Make sure you're prepared, because if you have to evacuate or you have to leave your home, nobody wants to do that, but you want to be prepared. You don't want to be preparing at the last minute. And check your smoke detectors. Make sure they're working. If you can, I know it's weird for some people, sleep with your bedroom door closed. That saves lives. I could show you lots of pictures. Sleeping with your bedroom door closed.
Why does that save lives?
Because when you fall asleep at night, closing that door, if there's a fire somewhere else in your house, that door will stop the spread of smoke and heat and superheated gases to give you enough time to escape through a bedroom window or whatever. Sleeping with your bedroom door closed is a very big safety measure that you can take in your home at night when you go to sleep at night.
What about carbon?
Let me finish the door thing. Should it be locked or unlocked?
I think that's up to your discretion.
Should it be before your spouse comes to bed or after? You don't have to answer that, Chief.
I think that's a personal question.
What about carbon monoxide?
Have you been trying to prevent the fire from getting into the bedroom the last few months? Is that what the problem is? I think it's.
What about carbon monoxide detectors? How important are they? Or
carbon monoxide detectors are important depending on what you use. They're really important after a hurricane passes, especially if you're using generators. And that's another thing. Remember, generators need to be outside the home. They need to be as far away from the home as possible. And put them a breezeway. And please, if you need a generator, do not bring it inside your house and run it.
So, Chief, we bought a new barbecue, and I went to start it the other night, and you press that thing, and you're supposed to hear a click, and it won't click or something. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with it? Is it because I bought it from Amazon? And
I would contact the manufacturer. Jeez. Unfortunately, I'm not a grill expert.
Jeez, come on.
What is the most unusual call you've gotten?
Yeah, that's a good question, dear.
Thank you.
You get the bell for that.
Oh, most unusual call.
Come on now, lay it out there. Nobody's watching.
There has been so many, which I don't think I'm going to talk about.
Just pick one.
Let's see. I had somebody one time years ago catch their nose ring in a belt sander. They were sanding down on a very minute.
Not expect that.
No, they were sanding really close, and they had really bad eyesight. They were, they
seems
just
like
had
a smart thing to do.
Narrow angle glaucoma type thing, but they like to do woodworking, and they were sanding down really fine. And however that happened, they had like a little piercing here, and turned the right way, and that sander that's rolling caught it and ripped it right out of the nose. And I thought that was a little.
Oh, how did that nose look when you got there? Not pleasant.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I thought that was one of my more.
Yeah, you could have
calls.
ended it on a nicer note than that. Jeez, how disgusting.
I understand that that's probably a bad injury, but it doesn't really require an ambulance ride, did it?
Well, no, you got to remember this in medicine is a concerning area because of the vasculature, and you cut your scalp, you cut your nose, you can
you put some glue on it.
Yeah, when we go home, we're going to try that exercise. I'm going to put a nose ring in your nose and then start the sander and see what happens.
I did not expect that.
Maybe we can start the barbecue with your nose ring. Chief, what would you like the community to know about Ron Martin?
What I'd like the community to know is that I am committed to their safety. I am committed to enhancing service delivery in every way possible to enhance community health, safety, wellness. I look forward to this opportunity to serve them, and I'm going to give them all the knowledge, wisdom, and my heart that I possibly can, because I love Fort Myers Beach. I love this community and people and the visitors that come here. I really do. This has become my home away from home, and I appreciate the trust and the opportunity to serve them in this capacity.
And Chief, all seriousness aside, thank you very much for everything. You've been great to us. You're always helpful and always answer the phone. And I apologize for calling you at 2 a.m. that one time about that accident. I promise never to do it again. So thank you and good luck and congratulations on your
Well, I got something special
for
you guys.
I want to let everybody know we came with gifts.
Yes.
Fire department mugs. Very
nice.
So
I'm giving you guys one of our department challenge coins because you guys are good partners here.
Thank you so much.
So I wanted to give you that little memento.
That's
very
weight
cool.
to it.
Yes, sir. Yes,
very
ma'am.
nice.
All right, thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, big hand for Chief Ron Martin, the new fire chief of Fort Myers Beach. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
And good luck. All right, everybody, before we get on to our next guest, go ahead, dear.
Well, let me just say.
Okay, go right ahead.
How how nice of him to come down here.
Yes.
He's so well spoken,
And
so
very nice.
genuine. Yes.
And
we
I think
really
you could, I think you
appreciate
could
it.
take him in
And
an,
he's still giving
yeah,
us
he's still
stuff.
giving-
Look at that.
I still think you could take him in an arm wrestling match. I think you should
I
challenge
don't
him
know
to
about
that.
that. I know his wife was smiling throughout the interview, so it
Oh,
was
that's
nice that she
nice.
could come
They
down.
got a nice big table out there. Ron
know.
Fleming and Jan Fleming are here, and they're super nice. And I'm going to tell
So
everybody.
would you want me to go?
Yeah, you're going to
Ow.
say hi to Dan, and I'm going to take care of the Beach Pottery folks. And we're going to talk to Dan Spears from BMI. Our great friend Dan Spears is coming up next to talk about the Songwriter Fest. But I need to tell you about Beach Pottery, our friends down at Beach Pottery. Man, they're cool. I don't know if you saw Jacinta posted from Margaritas that she bought some new stuff for her little house that they have down the road here. I look like she bought some stuff that was imported from Vietnam. You know, my favorite pots come from Vietnam. And they have thousands and thousands and thousands of pots. Alana purchases them directly from the manufacturers, so they have the best pricing in town, as well as the best selection. And, Jason goes over there and shopping with his little pink hat, and he likes to pick out the carvings in the back when they're carving their alligators and their crocodiles and their big grizzly bears. He likes the flamingos, the pink flamingos that they carve out in the back. And he puts them by the pool so he can lounge in the chair in the pool and look at the flamingos. And it's Beach Potteries where you get all this stuff. Vietnam, Mexico, thousands and thousands and thousands of pots. You need to stop by or give them a call and say, I'm on my way, 437-4211, 437-4211. And thanks to Beach Pottery for supporting the show for millions and millions of years. And again, if you missed it earlier in the show, we want to make sure that you know that if you need a golf cart to get around Sanibel or get around Fort Myers Beach, it's 10% off if you call and mention the show. So call Sanibel Carts. We do have 2 tickets to give away later on at the end of the show. I need to tell you about why I had to ride home on my bicycle in my bare feet. It has something to do with my wife. And also the right way to capture the dog's urine. And the wrong way. That's coming up later, so you're going to want to make sure you stay tuned. We are ready for Dan the Man. Dan Spears is here from BMI.
Sorry,
It's always great to have Dan on. I think this is...
we get talking and then I forget you're actually over here waiting.
Yeah.
So I apologize. That was my
It's just
fault.
like being at home when we have guests over.
I ignore
but,
you all the time,
yeah.
right? Right.
Well, we got to get Dan in the picture a little more, too.
Oh,
so
please.
there we go. And I want
You
to
want to ruin
Derek, get back a little bit.
I can't. You have this sign right in my back.
Sorry. I want to tell a quick story. I saw Dan Wednesday night, Thursday in Miami.
We did for a
And-
brief moment.
That's
yeah,
right.
Dan was down at we put on a Hispanic radio conference every year at my day job, which is Radio Inc. magazine. And Dan is always nice and brings a great artist to perform during the conference. And what was cool about, it's cool every year, but was really cool. Dear, lean back so I can see Dan. So you have I'm sorry, Dan, the name of the artist that you brought this year was?
Elston Torres.
Elston Torres. Now, Elston wasn't put under any pressure at all when he came to Miami, right? He gets up on stage and Dan introduces him, and Emilio Estefan walks in the room. Yeah, he's a bit of a star, and he was we were giving an award to Mr. Estefan, and he was playing a set of his songs, right? So
Yeah.
that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, you and I have been together for a lot of BMI performances, but that one was special because it was part of the tribute that your magazine was giving Emilio for his contributions to the Hispanic radio industry, and just for us to have an opportunity to be a part of it. You know, as a company that represents Emilio's catalog of music as a songwriter and publisher, it was a special chance to just play our small little role in congratulating him. And we always find that the best way to express our support and congratulations is through music. And so Elston is a no slouch himself.
Oh,
He's a
no.
2-time Grammy-nominated singer-songwriter based in Miami. And so he did a medley of some of Emilio's biggest hits, which you all would recognize from, Gloria and the Miami Sound Machine. Anyways, it was a special moment. We were grateful to be able to have the opportunity to partner with you and do a special thing for Emilio.
So we're all sitting in the room. the door opens and you can see there's a commotion at the door because everybody in Hispanic radio, which is what our audience was for this conference, just starts, they start flocking toward him. They're all hugging and they're all, taking selfies with him. And, to hear his resume of, I don't know, he's either won or been nominated for like 40 Grammys. It's just crazy. And he's been behind Ricky Martin and obviously his wife, Gloria, and so many big names. And you know what? The coolest thing, there were so many cool things listening to his speech, but the coolest thing that he said to me was the United States is the greatest country in the world. He could not stop bragging about the United States, about the chance he had, and the radio stations giving him a chance to play the records, but he really does love this country.
Yeah, the second coolest thing that I think he said, I don't know if he expressed it to you as well, but he said it to me backstage, was the secret to my success in life is loyalty and commitment. I've been married to Gloria for 43 years. We've been together for 46. I've been an affiliate with BMI, your company, for 45 years. I've been with my label for something like 40 years. He believes, unlike a lot of figures in music and sports, that loyalty does still matter. And that really struck a chord with me because even the most legendary and iconic artists and sports, athletes that we know, don't necessarily put loyalty at the top of the list.
Not
money and other things take a priority. But Emilio, no, it was a beautiful opportunity for us to spend time with him. So
Dan, how go ahead.
Can I get a question?
Sure,
in here?
go right ahead.
Do you mind if I switch gears a little bit?
Not at all.
So
You're the boss.
before we're going to be talking about the Islandhopper Songwriters Fest, but before we do that, can you explain to people a little bit what BMI is and what they do?
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that because sometimes I assume too much.
Yeah,
and I think that people know what BMI is, and most people really don't. So BMI
stands for Broadcast Music Inc.
Yeah, so we're a not-for-profit company, and under the copyright law, you as a songwriter are entitled to royalties whenever your music is played, quote, publicly. Now, a public performance could be live music here at Pete's Time Out. It could be music streamed on Spotify. It could be music on your favorite cat country radio station here in Fort Myers. It could be music at your favorite brewery. It could be music in your favorite yoga class. All of those are considered public performance under the copyright law. And you as a songwriter are entitled to get paid. Well, it would be impossible for you to go to every single business that's using your music, negotiate a contract, get a fee, track how many times your songs are being played. So instead you affiliate with what's called a performing rights organization, which is, BMI is one of the few that represent that right on behalf of songwriters. We are a not-for-profit company, which means that more than 90 cents of every dollar that Pete's Time Out pays BMI in licensing fees goes to the songwriters and publishers. And so this is a great segue as to why this festival is so important to us, aside from the fact that we're shining a spotlight on songwriters, which we love to do, is that we're coming down here and supporting these venues that have supported our songwriters over the years, whether it's Mantanzas or Diamond Head or Yucatan Beach Stand. All of those businesses pay licensing fees to BMI for the rights to have music in their establishments. And it's a golden opportunity for us to come down and actually say, hey, these songwriters that have been benefiting from the licensing fees you pay, now we're going to switch the tables. They're going to come in and help grow your business over this 10-day period that we're in town. And
later on today, we're going to be doing a 1-hour show at Nervous Nelly's at 1:00, and they have the whole park that they rent from the town, and the artists will be playing down there also, and like you said, Yucatan and Pierside, and so you guys are the biggest. There's ASCAP, there's BMI, there's CSAC, and then the new one. But BMI is the biggest, and is it the oldest? No,
ASCAP is the oldest.
Okay.
And, it's kind of like, Ed, your years in radio, you would understand this. Every radio station can claim that they're the they're the most listened to, depending on what the statistics are that you're looking at. I mean, ASCAP has been around longer. There are certain analytics, if you looked at them, they could claim to be the biggest. BMI has other numbers that they could use to say we're the biggest. I'd say ASCAP and BMI, between the two of us, represent the lion's share of the music that you know and love.
So if someone's singing karaoke, that doesn't count, does it?
That counts.
That counts.
Because someone wrote that song.
So if I
right.
just bust out singing a song, I don't have to pay a royalty, or do I?
Where are you going to bust out and
If
sing that song?
if I started singing something right now, which nobody wants and I'm not going to do, would that count?
Are you singing it just between the three of us and you're showing us what kind of chops you have, the three of us? Or are you going to sing it out to the entire audience and sing the entire song and people are going to give you tips and they're going to say, you are really good?
Wow.
It's just like somebody stealing an article. It's the same exact thing. You can't
No,
do it.
I mean, I don't think a lot of people would know that, though. I mean,
you're right. You're right. It's a good example. Like if you found an article that you really liked and you read it, at home in the privacy of your own home, and then you chose to
Post it
publish
online,
it in some newsletter you're putting out, you probably need permission from the author to do that.
Right.
So it's the same thing. It's when you're, a private performance. If I came over to your house
and
we all did karaoke together, that's not a public performance. If we went to a wedding together and there was a wedding singer there, that's a private performance.
Oh, okay.
But as soon as it's accessible to the public,
that's when
the copyright law says that songwriter.
So
needs
no
to be
more singing
compensated.
"Happy Birthday" in public.
Happy Birthday just recently moved into the public domain,
Ah,
which means it's not subject to
See?
royalty payment.
It
Who would know
just
that?
recently moved
Who
into
would know
it.
that?
So
Because-
before that, you
So songs
I owe
remain
somebody some money.
active under the copyright law 70 years after the death of the songwriter.
wow.
So most of the music that you're listening to today or that we listened to as kids is still alive and well and not in the public domain.
Yeah.
Got
It's
it.
not easy to write a song that people will sing. And so those people that write the songs
absolutely
probably don't sing the songs. I mean, they pass them along to, country artists that sing the song, and they still need to get paid. They created they're not going out on concerts. So that's really what you guys are all about. Now, how long have you been with BMI, Dan?
I've been with BMI. Next month it'll be 33 years.
Wow.
So,
talk about loyalty.
No kidding.
well,
No kidding.
I was saying to Emilio when he talked about his 45 years with BMI, I said, Emilio, if you go to BMI and walk the hallways, if our offices were open, and asked people, how long have you worked at BMI? 20 years, 30 years, 40 years.
And
because,
BMI's
when you
office-
work for a not-for-profit, and our job every morning when we wake up is to protect the creators of music. And we have no obligations to
Right.
a venture capital firm, or our money's not going, out as a dividend check to investors. It's all, 90 cents of every dollar is going to the songwriters. You feel like you're doing something pretty important and significant.
Who's the most successful artist right now? Do you know, Dan?
Artists.
Like let's just say country, because
Well,
it's
I mean,
most-
are you saying artist or are you saying songwriter?
no, artist. Who do you think the most successful artist is right now?
You mean in terms of
money
revenue,
making?
money,
Yeah,
income?
Yeah.
Wow. It's a hard question because there's so many right now that, Eric Church,
Yeah.
is doing so well.
Let's just say Eric Church. Now, he's got songs that maybe he's written, but maybe he hasn't written, right? So all that money that he's making, some of it's trickling down to the songwriters and to the people that you're taking care of, right?
Correct. Eric Church is actually he's an interesting example because Eric Church is a prolific songwriter himself.
Okay. So how does that work? Do you?
He gets
a
double dip, right?
Nice.
I mean, I don't mean that.
No, I know what you mean. He gets
Good
it
for him.
on both sides. But he's unusual. Most of the country artists, like Tim McGraw, and he would admit this to you, songwriting is not his forte.
Right.
He has written some songs that have, had some success, but most of his number one hits and big songs he did not write, and he acknowledges that. He says, "Thank you to the Nashville songwriting community for helping make my career."
He's in the back waiting to come on and say that exact thing.
Come on out, Tim.
What about how good of a songwriter is Mac McAnally?
Oh, incredible.
One of the best in Nashville, right?
Yeah, he's not BMI, but we love him
Oh,
anyway.
he is. Oh,
Oh,
see, I
nice
didn't know that.
job.
I didn't. You see,
It's
who
okay.
knows
It's
that?
okay.
Who knows that?
I knew that.
Who knows
Listen,
that?
I always, when I meet songwriters who are like a Mac McAnally, and they're with another performing rights organization,
You still have respect and admire.
well, yes,
and
because
everything.
I have respect for ASCAP and the other companies because they're all doing what we're doing, and that's looking out for the interests of songwriters. And songwriters need champions right now because there's, all these new digital services and
Right.
stuff. They're making nothing really. I mean,
Right.
So,
Go ahead.
shall
No,
we?
What?
You ready to segue to why he's here?
Sure.
To talk about that. So tell us a little bit about the Islandhopper Songwriter Music Fest. Now you missed one year, And so you're
Yeah.
back this year.
Yeah, this is our 7th.
So this is the 7th year.
Yeah.
And tell us a little bit about it and if it's different this year. And
Well, I don't know that it's.
so you guys didn't see
we're
it,
trading
but
swag right
yes.
now.
So he gave John
Lalo, the owner of Pizza
the owner of Pete's, a BMI
and by
hat.
the way, a longtime BMI licensee. We reconnected last night, and
okay.
they've been BMI customers for many, many years because of the live music here. And
Right.
And he gave you one of our hats.
Yes, he did.
Does he always pay his bill?
Well, I got to go back and check.
So you start the
go ahead.
festival on Captiva.
Yes. So to answer your question, whether it's different than previous years, no, I think it's what it was, when we first started, which was an opportunity to shine a spotlight on our songwriters, as we've discussed. Many of their
There we go.
that's what
Another
I'm talking
hat.
about. I love the swag, John. Many of our songwriters are anonymous. They're behind the scenes, as we just discussed, writing big hits for Tim McGraw. And when they come here, they feel like celebrities.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because
Yeah.
the audiences here are incredibly respectful, and they connect with the music in an intimate way that you wouldn't be able to at these large stadium concerts. You're
Mhm.
hearing how a song was written, the genesis behind the composition. And that gives you ownership in a song, probably more so than you would get if you, again, saw a big show at a big arena.
Mhm.
And that, I think, is what makes this festival special. Because afterwards, you can come up to the songwriter and say, that song you just wrote, made me think of my mother, and, connect me
Right.
with this or that. And you can talk it up with the writers and have some connections with them that you obviously can't go backstage at a concert if you're touched by a Tim McGraw song.
Right. Now, are the crowds bigger this year? Has there been kind of a,
It's interesting. We've all been sort of debating that.
yeah.
I think they're bigger.
I agree.
Some of the folks with Lee County Visitors and Convention Bureau, one of our major partners, probably they, along with iHeartMedia, are the most important partners we have. They think that numbers are similar to what they've been in years past. I thought at Captiva they were bigger, but
Okay. So you start in Captiva, then downtown Fort Myers, and you finish here on Fort Myers Beach with all the different venues. Are some of the artists going over the iHeart building, and they have a studio inside there too? Is that part of the?
No.
Okay.
No, but I'll tell you what iHeart does that adds a different dimension to this. So I curate the songwriter roster, the lineup. But we, strategically from the very beginning of this festival, Cat Country, iHeart,
Mm-hmm.
we got together and we decided that if we're going to introduce people to this idea of a songwriter festival, we need to initially have something that draws them in. Like if I say, John's going to be here playing his, playing
Ukulele.
ukulele, you'd be like, who's John? Oh, well, John wrote 10 number one hits for Eric Church. Well,
Got you.
you can't market John's name because they don't know who he is.
Right.
So we said, let's first let's have some recognizable names, create some events that will draw people in initially, sort of suck them in. Then they're like, oh, wow, I'm going to go to these shows and that shows. And they'll then start understanding what Songwriter Festival is. So having said all that, we have two big label artists that performed during the course of the festival. We had Michael Ray, Florida boy from Eustis, Florida, Warner Brothers recording artist. He played Thursday night to wrap up the downtown portion.
Right.
On Sunday, Jimmy Allen is playing at Pink Shell at the pool party to wrap things up. So that's iHeart's label relations. That's how that happens.
Gotcha.
And
So
it's very
iHeart covers
exciting.
that because they have to be paid.
They
come
get paid,
down.
but it's not what they normally
Sure.
would get because, as you know, in the radio business, it's hey,
Right.
we're helping Jimmy Allen
Right. We're
get his
iHeart
stuff
Media.
out there. We're
Right.
playing his stuff, so give us a discount.
Who's opening
So-
for Jay at Jimmy
For Jimmy,
yeah.
Paul McDonald.
Okay. See now, who's he written for?
Well, here's a great thing about this festival is that Paul McDonald's genre of music is diametrically opposed to Jimmy Allen.
Okay.
Paul was on American Idol about 10 years ago. He's got a very cool, almost John Mayer type vibe. He's not a country writer, but at this festival, you can mix genres.
And so that's the thing. It is a mixed genre festival.
It's primarily country, but
Okay.
we do have some artists like
You
Paul
do.
McDonald, and you can put Paul McDonald. Like last night, there was a show at Yucatan Beach Stand. It was Paul McDonald, who's got a pretty big following because he's had some success in a mainstream way with American Idol, and he's been on some TV shows, and he was married to an actress. So he's got sort of a
Who was he married to?
Nikki Reed,
Oh,
who
of
was in
course.
all those what do you call it? What are the movies about the
Fast
vampire
and-
movies?
Elvira. Elvira.
No.
She was just in the news
all the
recently.
books, and they were made into
Yes.
movies. Everybody's crazy about them. Twilight.
Twilight. Thank you.
She was in the Twilight
Ding,
movies.
ding, ding.
At any rate, my point is that Paul is a completely different kind of artist than many of that are here. He played with Jay Allen, who you all might know who Jay Allen is because he's going to be married to Kylie Morgan.
Yep.
Ah.
We've had
They're
them
having
on
their
the
wedding
show.
down here.
Yes.
They fell in love with Fort Myers.
Is
They
he
came-
marrying her because she's a bigger star than him, or are they really in love? I'm just kidding. He could take a joke. He
Yeah,
could take a joke.
But anyways,
he could
so
also
he's-
kick my ass.
Yeah, he could. He may rival the guns that you've got. I don't know. So he played with Paul last night. Couldn't be more different. I
Yeah.
mean, he's a real country artist, right?
Mhm.
Sweetest guy in the world. Country is his vibe.
Yeah.
But it worked.
Right.
Who's the biggest star you have ever introduced or talked to or been around? I mean, name the top 3 big stars.
That I've met and hung out with just a little bit.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Well, as my friend Even Stevens, who
That you have on
who plays
speed
down here.
dial.
Even Stevens is a songwriter that's played this
No
festival
kidding,
many
that's
years.
a real name?
No, yeah, that's his name.
Wow.
He was written a bunch of big hits. He always says to me, Dan, Paul McCartney told me once it's not nice to name drop. So I'm gonna name drop.
Ding, ding, ding.
So I've met some, these aren't people that I'm best friends with,
Okay, sure.
but I've met some, I've met the David Crosbys, the Graham Nashes, those kinds of people.
Very nice.
My best BMI story, if that's
Half
what
of
you're
our
looking
audience
for.
is not going to know who that was that you
That's
just
all right.
mentioned.
No.
So,
All right,
name
they
it.
will know this story. If we've got 2 minutes, I'll tell you
Yeah.
my favorite BMI story.
Please.
So back in 2006, 2007, there's a radio group that has stations here in the market called Beasley Media. You, of course, know it.
Yep,
Ed.
yep.
Right.
And Kim, you know Beasley. Great company, great friends. I
Yep,
love
nice
them to
people.
death. Every year they say, we're doing our general managers meeting. We would like BMI to provide the entertainment. We jump at the chance. It's a way to give back to a very important customer of ours and a way to humanize BMI. Make it not just a licensing fee, but an actual human being, a BMI songwriter, performing for all the general managers. So in 2006, they were having their general managers meeting in Philadelphia, which is where their big country station, WXTU, is. I said, we'd love to bring entertainment in for this. Do you have a preference on genre? Yeah, we'd love for it to be country because of our station here in Philly. Do you have a preference on up-and-comer or somebody who's like established? Oh, how about an up-and-comer? Who does BMI think is the next big thing? Call my colleague in Nashville. He says, I've got just the right person for this. She's actually from Reading, Pennsylvania, so there'd be a nice local match. I said, great. He connects me with her and her mother. Her mother was serving as her manager at the time. We talk on the phone. We say, hey, we'll meet at
I don't know who it
Philadelphia.
is. Do you know who it is, dude?
I don't
We'll
know.
meet you on Friday.
I'm
The
guessing.
night before you're supposed to perform. We'll get to spend some time together. I'll give you the lay of the land for Beasley and who they are and their stations. This will be a great opportunity to get in front of some influential folks. Anyways, we spend the weekend together. Lovely young lady, very nice. Her mother's very nice. It's time to do the introduction. Right before my introduction, there's a guy named Danny Highsmith, who is the general manager for their stations down in Fayetteville, North Carolina. And every year he does a roast of his fellow GMs based upon silly things they said over the last couple of days of their GM meetings. So he gets up and does a 20-minute shtick. It's a silly, funny roast. Then they introduce me to introduce the artist. So I tell you that. You'll know why I'm telling you that piece in a minute. So I get up there and I say, hey, this is an up-and-coming artist that we really think is, special and has an opportunity to make an impact in the country music scene. Ladies and gentlemen, blank. Okay, I'm not going to tell you. Yeah, I'm not going to drop the line yet. She gets up there and she says, listen, the head of my record label told me that he wants me to kick off this performance with my new single, my first single coming out to country radio, because nobody knew who this woman was, or young lady, really. But would you mind if I performed a song that I just wrote? And of course, the jaded radio people out there like doing a golf clap going, yeah, we've heard all this before. So she gets up and she performs a song based upon that guy's roast. So she wrote the song literally in 2 minutes.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
And you could hear a pin drop. All these jaded radio people that think they'd heard it all before. So she immediately had them in the palm of
Oh,
their hand.
man.
blew everybody away over the next 30 minutes. They all rushed the stage afterwards, which never happens at a radio event. Signed her up for festivals they were doing. Everybody in the room knew that this woman was going to be special. Her name?
Was it Leanne Rhymes?
Carrie Underwood.
That's my second guess. Carrie
Taylor
Underwood.
Swift.
Oh my
Oh.
gosh. Never would have
You know
guessed
what?
that.
You know
Wow,
why I
should've-
wouldn't have
yeah.
guessed hers? Because the age thing was throwing me. Because
15.
She was 15. Wow. That's
15.
crazy.
And then
Great
her song
story.
Tim McGraw 6 months later went top 10. And I stayed in touch with
We
she and her
should've known
mom for
that.
about maybe 3 years. I'd see them at BMI events and we'd text one another or whatever. And then she just disappeared into the global superstardom stratosphere.
And now she's all entangled with her records and labels and the whole thing. How does something that seems to start so innocent get so crazy out of control where her I don't even know what her catalog got sold to somebody else from Big Music.
It's about control.
Okay.
It's yes, you did the thing with the money.
Yeah.
Symbol. It is a little bit about money, but for her, it was more about control. It was about I don't want to get into the weeds too much. Your
I don't
listeners
mean
may not want to hear
her
it, but
desire for money, but the people are maybe around.
yeah, I mean, her
Hangers on.
catalog of music got sold to Scooter Braun, who discovered Justin Bieber, Scott Borchetta from Big Machine, he's the label head I was referring to earlier, kind of made her career and owned the mastered recordings to her early stuff. Then sold, had a great opportunity to sell it to Scooter Braun and this consortium of investors. And Taylor was unhappy about that because she felt she needed the opportunity to buy. She wanted to be given the chance to buy those master recordings before they were sold, because then she'd have control over how that music was used, how it was marketed, how it was distributed. And that was the big controversy. Was Scott Borchetta said, "Hey, we did give you the opportunity, but you chose to move to Universal Music and leave your catalog behind. That's fine." At any rate, it got ugly because she enlisted her fans and all that.
Yeah.
Long and short of it is, she's decided to re-record some of her earlier albums because she wants to own those masters herself. She wants that to be her own.
Crazy
And
business.
she can do that now, right? Because
now she's got the
she
money.
She has enough market influence that her fans will embrace these new master recordings.
Is it fair to say that she hasn't really had a hit since she left Scott?
Oh well, she's had some pop. Yeah, she's had a lot of pop.
Hits.
She's in pop.
Yeah.
She's in the pop world now.
Yeah.
She doesn't.
I'm not she's a Taylor Swift.
She's got
fan.
huge hits in the pop vein.
So one of the coolest things that goes on in Nashville during the country radio seminar, Dan, and I don't know if you go there or not.
Oh, yeah.
But the Ryman does something every year at the country radio seminar and Kylie Morgan was there last year, and she got a chance, or the year before, she got a chance, like one song from probably 25 big name artists, like, every single big name artist that's under those different labels, under the one big label. And, we get a chance to talk to her every once in a while. And she, she's now backstage with, Carrie Underwood and all the big names. And she says they're the nicest people in the world. Always, giving her advice and, confidence and things like that. I mean, that's just got to be great for somebody that's singing in venues like they're doing this weekend to make it to the Ryman.
Yeah. I mean, I will say
Really
something.
wasn't a question in there, but
I think country music is unlike any other genre. I think there is a unity, a camaraderie within that industry that doesn't exist in other genres.
Right. I agree with that 100%. Yeah.
Everybody's looking out for each other. Radio's relationship with country music is unlike pop or rock. Country artists are much more accessible.
Right.
Rock over the years has built up this image of trying to create rock stars and making them inaccessible almost. They're unapproachable. They're on a pedestal. And country has gone completely the opposite direction. They're trying to connect the artists with the fans as much as they possibly can and get rid of that barrier.
Where are you headed today? What's your agenda? Where are you going first?
Well, I have an introduction I have to make for one of the performances at 4. But the first show is at 1:00 at the Pink Shell at the pool.
Okay.
Then the full kind of lineup kicks off at 2:30.
Right.
And we have a great app this year.
I know. I've been checking it out. Totally up to date.
You can plan your own schedule.
It's really great.
And one thing we definitely need to get out is that other than, and correct me if I'm wrong, other than the ending show with Jimmy Allen, it's all free.
It's all free.
it's all
crazy.
free, folks,
Right.
except for that one
all
show,
free.
which you should be willing to pay for too. But I mean, go out, go to these businesses, eat, drink, enjoy this amazing music, tip your servers, and it's a free thing.
And it goes
you can
on
take your family, it's free.
through tomorrow. And I'm just looking at the Nervous Nellies lineup. It looks like they have somebody starting at 1, and then 2:30, 4 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7:15, 8:30, and then Sunday they start again at 1:30. So it's music all day long.
Yeah,
And
all the way through Sunday night.
awesome.
We're in the home stretch of this festival, so don't miss it, folks. If you've never experienced a Songwriter Festival, it's right in your own backyard. Come on out.
Do you do this anywhere else?
Well, there's a festival in Key West every
That's what I
year. That's
thought.
the largest Songwriter Festival, really, I think, in the country. It's been going on for 20 plus years, but it's a different vibe. It's, my contention is that the Key West Festival is a little bit more of a party environment. And yes, there's a certain degree of, there's no question there's some partying going on down here, but
Sure.
I
But
think
people just go to
I
Key
think
West
it's
to
a little
party.
bit more of a listening room environment here, a little bit of a Bluebird Cafe vibe here, where people
Love it.
I
they
want
listen
to
in
go
Key West,
there.
but Key West has theater shows.
Right.
So for the people that really want to like go to an environment where you can hear a pin drop and hear the stories behind the song, they do them in a couple of theaters in Key West. The rest of the shows are in the bars and restaurants, and they're kind of loud, but it's still the same concept.
Right.
Somebody asked, is Bob DiPiero playing here this year?
Bob DiPiero was not playing at Islandhopper this year. He has in the past. Bob is whoever wrote that question knows Bob is a Hall of Fame songwriter who is busy and has a lot on his plate and couldn't make it this year, but we'll try and get him next year. I love Bob. Bob is one of the best writers that BMI represents. He's amazing.
Sheena Easton playing this year?
Sheena Brooke.
I'm sorry, I got it mixed up. Where did I come? Sheena
You are
Easton.
showing your age.
Who's Sheena Easton?
Sheena Easton was a pop star from the
And that's why you
80s,
looked at me.
70s.
Why'd you look at me? You looked at me because I got the name wrong. I was like, you're looking
I
at
go,
me.
"Wait,"
like-
but I knew where you were headed.
yeah, so
Yeah,
but she's
Sheena Brooke-
local. Sheena
That's a
Brooke
good-
is local.
Sheena Brooke has been an incredible advocate for this festival. She's like the local sort of poster child that represents this festival down here. And she is incredibly talented, and has been a major force in building the brand of this festival.
And her mom is Sheena Easton. I don't know where I got that.
That-
no, it's
I-
just I'm gonna have to edit
Remember that
out.
my morning train? I take the morning train. He
Oh,
works
we don't
from
want to have to
9
pay.
Oh,
Be
wow,
careful, be
that's
careful,
all right.
be careful.
I've
I've got a blanket license with BMI.
All right, Dan. Well, thank you so much for coming on. Three
Thank you,
straight
Bob.
years in a row. We
Always-
appreciate it. And we'll see you at one of the venues this
Yeah.
weekend for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
your support is greatly appreciated.
We love you
Thank
guys.
Kim
Well,
and Ed.
it's
Thanks
an
so much.
amazing thing. Oh, wait a minute. Give the website where they can find the schedule and stuff.
Well, if you just Google Islandhopper
Okay,
Songwriter
you'll
Fest,
find it.
it'll come up immediately. Or if you've got your phone,
Go to the app
just go
store
into the App
App.
Store and put Islandhopper, and you'll find it.
for sure.
Great.
Got it on my phone. Thanks a lot, Dan
All right,
Spears,
thank you
everybody.
so
All right.
Sheena.
Sorry about that, dear. I didn't mean to screw that up. So I need you to read this ad,
Okay.
and I'm going to, you know what? And then we're going to talk about a couple of quick stories. And sorry about that, Mikey. I screwed it up. You know what? I don't know much. I do a podcast for crying out loud. All right. Go ahead, dear. Take it away.
All right, Fort Myers Tiki Tours. Get on that Tiki boat and take a nice 90-minute leisurely tour down the bay. They provide you the boat, the captain, the cooler, and the ice. You bring yourself and 5 of your friends, your food, and whatever drink you would like, and enjoy a day out on the water. You might see some turtles, you might see some dolphins, you might see a shark. Who knows what you might see? And people will see you and they will take your picture because they will love that little tiki boat that you're floating down leisurely and enjoying time with friends, family, co-workers. Or if you're like a solo person, just go out by yourself and enjoy your time and meditate and commune with nature. Give them a call at 239-887-0042. That's 239-887-0042. They're located over at Salty Sam's Marina. So definitely give them a tour. And please, like we were saying earlier, come on down this weekend. Take advantage of the music festival. There's so many places that you can go. I'm going to read off some of the places. There's Diamond Head, Cabanas at Diamond Head, Pierside, Yucatan, Matanzas, Nervous Nellies, which is where we're going to be at 1 o'clock. Please stop by, say hello to us. You could push Ed into the bay there. It's right there. Just give him a little and he'll fall right in. The Pink Shell and Pinchers. And remember that Sunday night, Jimmy Allen will be playing the Pink Shell from 4:30 to 7. I don't know if he's doing the whole, that's a long time, but he will be there. And that's the only one that will cost you a little bit of money. So please get out there, look at the app, and figure out where you want to go and who you want to see.
You know, the last few weeks I've made it. I've made it through the whole show. Last week was an hour and a half too, but I made it through the whole show without. I don't know what's going on. Today was a rough day. The last few minutes, but thank you for stringing that out, dear. I had a couple of quick stories wanted to tell you about, being that you lost half the audience when you were reading that commercial.
Hey, that's not true.
I'm kidding. So the first thing I want to remind everybody about is, we have movie trivia too. So stay tuned for that. We're going to give away let's do that first. Let's give away 2 tickets to the Beach Theater.
We should have done like a musical.
Yeah, that would have been good. We should have come up with country music trivia. All right.
No. I mean, like a musical movie, like something about the Sound of Music or something. Anyways, go ahead.
Look, those guys are so tall. We had to turn the camera up for them. It's time for movie trivia. Your chance to win 2 tickets to see a movie down at the Beach Theater on Estero Boulevard. This week, the Beach Theater is screening Clint Eastwood's new movie. It's called Cry Macho. What was Clint's first major TV role?
TV?
That's right.
I'm going to guess.
Clint's first major TV role was?
Either maybe Bonanza.
Bonanza. I don't think Clint Eastwood was in Bonanza. No, that's
Gunsmoke?
not right.
That
no,
too old?
I don't think he was on
TV?
Gunsmoke either.
It's a TV thing,
I think he did a duet with Sheena Easton, though. I am so sorry, Sheena, for saying Easton. I don't know where that came from. Was that her first and last name, though? Sheena Easton? Was that her name?
That is her name.
Like
that's not her
I know
name,
that's not her name, but
that
was
is
that
the
her
artist known as Sheena Easton.
Okay. The artist formerly known. I'm not letting you see what. Oh, okay. So
But
if
I don't
anyone knows
remember that.
by the
That's-
way, you can type Rowdy Yates is not right, Mike. You can type the answer in the chat box, and we will mail you the tickets to the Beach Theater. All right. So real quick, I'm going to only tell one story
TV role.
because I don't want to bore people with my stories.
No,
Let me see which one is better. And we will be at the Nervous Nellies
I just
location.
was saying
That's
that
right,
while I was
Kathy.
filling
Very
for
nice,
you.
Kathy. Rawhide. She Googled it. It took her too long. She Googled it.
stop.
We're going to be at Nervous Nellies from 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock for the Islandhopper Songwriter Fest. But I want to make sure people know that we had an issue with our dog this past week. And while I was in Miami hanging out with Emilio Estefan, my good friend, and Dan, we had an issue with the dog where the dog just decides, our bulldog, Cookie, which I didn't name, was going to pee all over the house. Like all of a sudden, the dog is well trained. It's like 8-9 years old. So the dog knows when to go outside. And all of a sudden, she was just peeing everywhere. And when a dog the size of that bulldog pees, it's like it's from one end of the house to the other. So I said to, right? It's a lot of pee.
Okay, go.
I say on the way home, if you want to call the vet, I can take the dog to the vet on Friday because, Friday's an easier day. I don't have to prepare for work Saturday morning as much, the show is, I know I got to prepare for that, but I don't have to prepare for work. So I can take the dog on Friday. So as I'm riding home across Alligator Alley, half asleep, you text me and say, okay, the dog's got to be there at 4. I said, okay, well, 4 o'clock on Friday is fine. Oh, no, 4 o'clock today. So 4 o'clock today. And then you let me finish. And so I'm like, all right, well, you're the boss. I'm going to follow what your instructions are because, we got to take the dog to the vet because the dog might be dying or something like that. So then she says to me, you have to get the dog's pee. Like you have to collect the dog's pee. I'm like, okay, so I got to get home. I got to make sure that I, don't fall asleep on Alligator Alley. Then I got to collect the dog's pee. Okay, so I take the dog out, and now I'm like, I grab one of those little plates that, it's not really a paper plate. It's got a scooper on it, like a little salad plate, or I don't know, whatever you call it, but it's plastic. So the dog goes out, and she squats to pee, and I'm sneaking up behind her because you don't want to scare the dog when she's peeing or she'll freak out. And I slide the plate underneath the dog's thingy. And so she's peeing, and I was like, it's filling up, man. All right, I got
I
plenty.
don't need that much, right?
Right. So she goes in the house. Now I don't want to carry the pee all around the house
No.
because that stuff stinks. So I put the pee on the bar top in the backyard. We have a bar top in the backyard. And then I go in the house, I get ready to take the dog, and I go out in the backyard, and the pee has leaked all out of the bowl. There was a pinhole in the bottom of the paper plates. Did you buy the paper plates from the Goodwill?
God.
Like, did you get them on
You
sale?
cannot do anything
something?
correctly.
So now there's not only do I
you
not
have to put that away and put it in the fridge. You can't leave it.
the pee. So now there's pee all over the bar top out in the back, and now I have like this tiny little bit of pee that I got to go to the vet with. So now I'm like, what do? I'm trying to turn the plate this way to keep the pee from falling out of the hole in the thing. So I grabbed one of your coffee cups. I think I remember which one it is, and I poured the pee in the coffee cup, put some tinfoil on it, put the coffee cup in the car, and then we get to the vet. Now it's not a vet; it's an emergency hospital because it's an emergency. And I go in, and there's this lady was standing at the counter for at least 30 minutes explaining that she was going to pay her bill. Like, I'm going to pay the bill. And I pay the bill. I'm like, the dog's got a pee problem. Can you hurry this along? And it's like, now it's like an hour later.
Numbers
and I'm
are
still,
going
and
down
I'm still
precipitously.
So anyway, the dog's fine. There was enough pee to capture what we needed to capture. And that's that. So the bulldog's going to be fine. But then
listen, when a dog that old, their life expectancy, as someone reminded me, is only 8 to 10 years.
Oh, very funny, Mikey. Very funny.
She's old. She's getting very close. So when she had blood in her urine, she needed to go right away. She was uncomfortable.
Well, she went right away.
So the fact that you're complaining about all your work and you got to get done, the dog is uncomfortable, and you never, ever take the dogs. I always deal with it. So for one time, you could go and do it. And by the way, folks, he didn't make it to the end because he whined and cried so much that I drove from work all the way over to the vet to relieve him so that he could go home. And then you stuck me with the bill.
Okay, so here's what they do when they put you in a room. It's like a doctor's office at an emergency hospital for the dog, except for they put you in a room with your dog, and there's one TV. And you know what the TV's playing?
Lots of dog ads.
Dog videos. Yeah. Just dog videos.
Cat videos, too.
People doing this with their dog, that with their dog. They're sleeping with, I don't mean that, technically, but they're just, so now you're sitting in a room by yourself with your dog watching dog videos for 30 minutes.
But
it's
I will
almost
say,
like torture.
I will give a shout out to Colonial Animal Hospital. That's where we went, over on 6 Mile Cypress and Colonial. And they took her, they gave me an appointment that day. They don't charge you extra. They're open 24 hours. They said they don't charge extra if you come in late at night. And really, vets are expensive, but this was reasonable considering all that Cookie got done. So
she got x-rays. She got on the scale. She weighed 50 pounds.
Yep. She got the x-rays. She got the urinalysis. They saw her. They answered all my questions and gave the medication. So it was a good experience.
The only worst part about it, and then I'll let you go, dear, is that it's the place is located like in the middle of traffic hell.
Tough. Yeah,
there's no parking and things like that. So, but luckily, Cookie's going to be fine. All right, dear, you are dismissed, and you will be back for our 1 o'clock show. We're going to be broadcasting live from Nervous Nellie's. And I did want to tell everybody else that there are other things going on in the next few weeks, a lot of activities. The Arches Walk is next week. So Saturday, it starts at 12 o'clock. It's going to be kicking off at Margarita's. You got to get down there. We're going to go over there for a little bit and talk to people at 11:30 or 11 o'clock. And they kick it off at 12 o'clock. They're trying to raise money to rebuild the arch, one of the arches, whatever they were able to save over at Bowditch Park. So if you can stop by for that, that's next Saturday at 11:30, 12 o'clock. And our good friends at Tuckaway Cafe are having their 10th anniversary, and that's coming up. Get all the details on our website. You can see a big story about them there. Their 10-year anniversary, which is pretty cool. Second location. Everybody loves Trey and Amy, and they do an awesome job down there, so check them out. And we will see you guys at 1 o'clock. We got free koozies if you come down and say hi to us at Nervous Nellie's. We're going to be talking to hopefully some of the artists down there for the Islandhopper Songwriter Fest. So thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you in a few hours. Bye-bye.